Yeah, I don't want to hear. I love De Niro. I love those mob movies. It's like
I don't want to hear him that he's a moron. I don't want to hear him talking about politics and about Trump supporters, and just shut the up, man.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't think this through. Like, this is, and he's getting yelled at. He's doing an outside press conference. Like, Robert, you're 80 years old. Don't ruin this thing. You've had this life where you were a raging bull. You know, you were in The Godfather. Like, stop doing this.
Man.
Don't do this.
What if I told you Robert De Niro just got verbally body slammed harder than a WWE rookie, courtesy of Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet-David? Yep, Mr. Tough Guy waltzed in with political rants and walked out roasted like a dollar store steak. Rogan came in hot with no filter, while Patrick brought receipts, logic, and that signature billionaire smirk. One second De Niro was posturing, the next he looked like he forgot his script. What did they say that left him stunned? Buckle up, this one's a ride.
Bro, when he's at a film festival and a documentary was coming out about vaccine by, I think, Del Bigtree, and he's talking about the documentary because he's got an autistic son. I think he's like 22 or 23 years old. That's one area where he's like, we have to look into this. What's going on with this? And he's kept the counter to him. At the time, the kid was 16 years old. But I think there's some moments, and they try to hide it as much as possible. So Robert De Niro suggested
there's a link between vaccines and autism.
You've never seen this interview?
No.
I have to show it to you afterwards. Okay. So he's talking about it, and the host is trying to shut him up. He's, you guys got to see this documentary. And he's not one that uses his kids as we know where he's at with Trump. We know he's got TDS. Yeah. We know he loses his mind. But when it comes down to vaccine and autism, that is a very personal thing to him.
But can you imagine not being allowed to ask?
Yeah, that's a problem.
Robert De Niro, the man who somehow became both a cinematic legend and the unofficial mascot of the Hollywood meltdown. It's like witnessing a masterclass in how to go from taxi driver to... Wait, wasn't he in that one movie? You'd hope someone who gave us iconic performances could cling to a shred of dignity. But nope. Lately, De Niro's been spiraling. Faster than a toddler watching their ice cream hit the pavement. Loud, messy, and oddly hard to look away from.
You ever see old people's text messages? The fucking text on their phone is like as big as my hand.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so your vision of the world is blurring, literally and figuratively, and then you're getting old. And when old people are tired and cranky, they just want everyone to listen to them, and they don't have time to have a calm conversation, and you state out your opinion, I'll state my opinion, let's see where we have common ground. Get off my lawn! And that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. He's being this old grumpy man that is so lost that he thinks it's a good idea to stand in front of a bunch of people on the street and give a speech on camera about how bad Donald Trump...
Guess what? De Niro's basically a living meme now. A walking caricature of Hollywood burnout. The once great star has turned into that loud guy at the party ranting about politics. Only the party is the global stage, and his takes are as scattered as his interviews. These days, he's less acting legend and more grumpy uncle with a mic, clinging to relevance with every anti-Trump tirade.
Did you see when he went and gave that speech outside of the trial? That was bizarre.
Told him that was a good idea.
And then he starts yelling at regular people. He's like, fuck you, you're a gangster. Go fuck you.
Like, it's crazy that that's the guy from Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
Like, you know what also I think? I think those guys have no friends. I think the only friends they have are Hollywood phonies. And so you're in this weird world where everybody you talk to is a phony, and you become a phony, and everyone's a phony, and your grasp on reality is very slippery, and your eyes...
Speaking of which, De Niro's obsession with Trump is borderline obsessive-compulsive. You'd think an Oscar winner might offer some deep insight, but nope. Just recycled insults a middle schooler could come up with, delivered with the same exhausted rage every time. It's like watching a grown man argue with a ghost on Twitter. Loud, pointless, and more than a little embarrassing.
Egregious thing, I think the most unbelievable to me is somebody, Robert De Niro, who I was a huge fan of his work. I've seen Goodfellas with my family, my brother, my cousins. I'll say 150 times. I'm not even joking, but it just plays in the background. For someone, and God rest his soul, his grandson just died this year due to fentanyl overdose, okay? Why aren't you furious at this current administration? You should be ashamed of yourself, because that fentanyl that came in and killed your grandson either came from China or it came from Mexico, okay? And guess what? Because of the wide open border, and whose fault is that again, Tom?
Or Mexico is the distributor for China.
Guess what?
Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet-David going after De Niro feels like the universe finally restoring balance. Joe, the master of long-form conversation where facts actually matter, and Patrick, the no-nonsense entrepreneur with a sharp tongue and Zero patience for Hollywood delusion teamed up to roast De Niro like a Thanksgiving turkey left baking in the sun. And surprise, De Niro had no comeback. He rarely does when logic enters the chat. Let's talk career choices. De Niro's recent filmography looks like the result of a drunk game of spin the genre. From the fierce, commanding lead in Raging Bull to the cringeworthy antics of Dirty Grandpa, yes, that movie, it's painfully clear the man has traded prestige for paychecks. Watching him bounce from Oscar-worthy performances to random sitcom. Cameos is like seeing a legend get stuck in the wrong Netflix algorithm. One minute you're bracing for brilliance, the next you're asking why he's shouting in a diaper. Spoiler alert, the paycheck's the only thing that makes sense. And yeah, it shows.
Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Now, Kurt's convinced that Robert De Niro's on some kind of Epstein list or some kind of thing like that, and then he's afraid that if Trump does get power, he's going to expose him, and he is actually going to come at him.
That's what, of course, Kurt thinks
That's
that.
what Kurt thinks that.
Kurt thinks that about every fucking thing that happens in the world.
I think Robert De Niro's just got Trump derangement syndrome.
I think he's old too. There's a thing about old men,
and
they want to yell at everybody.
And don't even get me started on De Niro's political posturing. His anti-Trump rants aren't some bold Hollywood stand. They're a desperate cry for attention. You know the type, shouting into the void with a megaphone, hoping someone, anyone, cares. But here's the problem. No one's really listening anymore. Whatever credibility he once had has evaporated, replaced by the image of a bitter old man yelling at digital clouds. Except the lawn is Twitter, and the kids he's shouting at? Millions of voters who've tuned him out. Patrick Bet-David called this out with surgical precision. He dissected De Niro's hypocrisy like a shark who smells blood. The man, who once played mafia bosses with chilling believability, now wants to play moral compass. That's rich. And no, rambling speeches don't make you a leader. They make you a loudmouth. Bet-David reminded everyone that De Niro's fame doesn't shield him from criticism, it attracts it, especially when he's mouthing off on topics he clearly doesn't grasp. Then there's Joe Rogan, always ready with that brutal dose of reality. He didn't sugarcoat a thing. Rogan laid it out plainly. De Niro is clinging to relevance like a dog with a chew toy. The guy who once shared screen heat with Al Pacino now couldn't intimidate a YouTube commenter. It's a sad sight, especially for those of us who once admired the raw, undeniable talent he used to bring to the screen.
He's being dead serious. And by the way, this is full Trump derangement syndrome, an attack, and he claims Donald Trump becomes president, all this is going to happen, right? He's clearly having an episode. So Trump is the threat to America. Meanwhile, in New York City right now, where he's from, De Niro's from Brooklyn, the governor last week deployed 750 National Guard soldiers with long rifles, M16s, in the subways due to skyrocketing crime and violence, which is caused a lot by the illegals set in. Who let these illegals in, Tom? Is it Trump?
In the last couple of years, Joe Biden has been working hard to set new records.
Thank you. And yet Trump is the threat. And give me a break, okay? And you said this, Pat. Is that I thought this was an act. Like, he's an actor, but what all this does, this negative rhetoric, it's further dividing an already divided.
Here's the kicker. De Niro's entire public persona has morphed from legendary actor to full-time outrage machine. Every interview, every tweet, every red-faced rant feels less like honest opinion and more like a one-man play, badly scripted by a bitter intern with a bone to pick. He's swinging verbal punches in a fight no one asked for, and worse, he's losing. The saddest part? Hardly anyone's watching anymore, except to see just how far the fall will go. Remember when De Niro compared Trump supporters to dangerous criminals? Hilarious, coming from the guy who made a career out of glamorizing mobsters. His Goodfellas performance practically put organized crime on a pedestal. The irony is so thick, you'd need a chainsaw to cut through it. Yet here he is, acting like the moral compass of America, as if decades of portraying sociopaths somehow qualifies him to preach virtue. Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet-David didn't just roast him, they exposed him. They peeled back the last layer of the legend to reveal a man who's become less of an actor and more of a walking political meme. The respect he once commanded, replaced by Twitter pity likes and secondhand embarrassment. That's the real tragedy. De Niro's legacy is etched in film history, but lately he's become the punchline in a joke no one's laughing at.
Do this.
I'm terrified to meet some of those people I looked up to now.
You should be.
I mean, like
I've met a few of them, and it's actors in particular, because their whole business is pretend. Their whole business is pretend. You know, one of the things about guys like Theo or comedians, you run into comedians, their business is the opposite of pretend. Their business is just being a real person talking shit. Yeah, the professional shit talker.
Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet-David didn't just scratch the surface. They tore through the facade and exposed the skeletal remains of what was once an untouchable legacy. De Niro's recent years have been a steady parade of awkward moments, forgettable films and public meltdowns that make you wonder if he's secretly auditioning for a satire about himself. If self-parody were an Oscar category, he'd have a clean sweep by now. Let's talk about those artistic choices, or lack thereof. Random cameos, half-baked TV roles, and throwaway movie appearances have turned him into either a punchline or a background prop. It's like watching a five-star chef suddenly sell microwave dinners at a gas station. The brooding depth, the layered complexity, the magnetic presence. It's all been drowned out by tweet storms and cable news cameos. And when it comes to politics, De Niro's less a passionate advocate and more a caricature of a Hollywood elite clinging to relevance through rage. The man who once portrayed complex, morally gray characters now shouts into the void like a late-night conspiracy theorist with a Netflix password. His anti-Trump tirades don't feel like moral stands. They feel like desperate plays for attention, packed with cliches and recycled fury. Original? Hardly. Impactful? Not anymore. Just another voice lost in the noise.
Robert De Niro panics. If Trump wins, he'll come looking for me. Do you have the video, Rob? Because it's like, if you can just play the video of De Niro. I mean, dude, you know, go ahead, Rob. Just watch this, folks. Enjoy it.
The guy is a total monster. And anybody, I don't understand it. I guess they get behind that kind of logic. They want to fuck with people, screw them, because they're unhappy about something. He's such a mean, nasty, hateful person. I never play him as an actor because I can't see any good in him. Nothing at all. Nothing redeemable in him.
Oh, God.
And we have to, and whoever the people are who want to vote for him, and they look like intelligent people around there, for some reason, it can't.
Patrick Bet-David didn't hold back. He zeroed in on De Niro's loudmouth routine and called it what it is, a desperate cry from a man who knows his glory days are behind him. There's a big difference between using your platform to inspire and using it to complain. And De Niro, he's firmly planted in the second camp, angrily wagging his finger at a world that's long since moved on, while he's still shadowboxing ghosts from the past. Joe Rogan, the podcasting heavyweight, tore into De Niro's attempts to play the role of cultural sage. You don't earn that title by shouting sound bites on late-night talk shows. It takes thoughtfulness, depth, and timing, none of which De Niro seems interested in. Rogan painted a picture of a man stuck on repeat, recycling the same rants like a karaoke singer who forgot the lyrics but refuses to leave the stage. Watching him is like watching a statue try to dance. Stiff, awkward, and more than a little sad. What makes it all the more ironic is De Niro's selective morality. This is the guy who made a name playing gangsters, killers, and morally gray anti-heroes. Now he's preaching about decency and ethics. It's like a billionaire scolding people for shopping at thrift stores. Sure, he's earned the right to speak, but the moral high ground he's standing on, it's starting to crumble.
Trump was feared, and he was respected, and he walked around, love him or hate him. We didn't have wars. So going back to what you're asking about Iran, what he would do, here's what he would be doing. There's no 6-hour stand down or 3-hour stand down. Here's what we're doing. He's doing a press conference going out. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to. Remember that one time when he says, Abu Bakr, what was his name?
Baghdadi.
And let's talk about De Niro's recent film choices. Yikes. There's practically a term for the phenomenon where once great actors start picking projects so bafflingly bad, fans assume it has to be some kind of elaborate joke. The Comedian, Dirty Grandpa, The Intern, these aren't just missteps, they're full-blown cinematic disasters. It's as if De Niro is actively tossing his own legacy into the shredder with a mix of defiance and complete disconnect. Patrick Bet-David nailed it. De Niro's Hollywood brand has devolved into a cautionary tale, a prime example of what happens when you coast on past glories and refuse to evolve. In today's industry, nostalgia isn't enough. You have to stay sharp, stay current, and yes, be humble enough to know when to pivot or step back. De Niro has done none of that. And the result? A legend turned punchline. Joe Rogan didn't sugarcoat it either. He pointed out that De Niro's presence in the public and online sphere is less wise elder statesman and more bull in a china shop. Instead of engaging with nuance or showing even a flicker of humility, De Niro doubles down on rage and noise, amplifying just how disconnected he's become. The man who once silenced a room with his presence now struggles. To keep listeners tuned in,
do you think our democracy is at risk in this election?
I think that it is. I always keep saying democracy is great, of course, but democracy people take for granted. It's a word that some people don't even understand. They take it for granted. It's about right and wrong, period. The guy's a monster. He is beyond wrong. It's almost like he wants to do the most horrible things that he can think of in order to get a rise out of us. I don't know what it is, but he's been doing it, and it's scary.
Are you?
Excuse my French.
Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet-David also zeroed in on how De Niro's own behavior has chipped away at his star power. There was a time when his name alone guaranteed a movie would draw attention. Now, it feels more like a warning label. Caution may include angry rants and outdated opinions. It's a harsh fall from grace, but one he's dug himself into with every public meltdown and strange interview. And let's not forget the audiences still showing up to see him. Fans expecting the depth of The Deer Hunter or Casino are left, confused, watching him shuffle through forgettable roles. It's like ordering a gourmet meal and getting fast food instead. Sure, it fills you up, but it leaves a bad taste. Ultimately, the roasting from Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet-David wasn't just about tearing down a star. It was a wake-up call, a reminder that fame and talent don't grant immunity from becoming a punchline. De Niro's fall from revered actor to Hollywood's cautionary tale is a story of missed chances and unchecked ego.